What's happening, people? Dom here from Lensprotogo and Lens Rentals. Welcome back to the channel. So, as you can tell, I am not bringing you this week's video from the comfort of the Lensprotogo office. I'm in our home city of Boston, and I'm kind of carrying on like a tradition, sort of bringing a new piece of Fuji gear into the city to test this out. I have no idea why I'm not inclined to do this with any other manufacturer. City shooting with a Fuji body slash lens just like jives with me for some reason. So anyways, that super special piece of gear that we're talking about today would be the XF 8 to 16 millimeter f2.8. Let me make sure I get my acronyms right. The RLMWR. Hint, hint, one is weather resistant, which is going to come into play pretty firmly today. We have some very steady rainfall going on, so that's just going to be great. For one of the talking points I have in mind for this awesome wide zoom for Fuji users. Let me take a couple seconds to tell you about this thing. So A, just that focal length range. I know there are a ton of Fuji users out there who need that wide anglage out of like a medium-sized zoom like this. Not necessarily a prime, even though I'm in love with Fuji's line of primes. Always found that their zoom lenses were a little more lackluster. You'll be happy to know that Fuji has implemented some optical tweaks in this 8 to 16 XF. Things that are going to keep lens flaws that we normally see at this focal length range a little bit at bay. Not all the way gone, but at least a little bit lessened. Now, what am I talking about? Things like chromatic aberration, ghosting. Fuji's also included the use of a couple aspherical elements in this lens to keep spatial distortions a little bit more well managed. That's like the keystoning, the warping of vertical lines when shooting at really wide focal lengths. It's going to fix your bad composition. Okay, that's actually still going to be left to user error. This thing can't do everything. However you feel about it, I know Fuji users are going to be excited at the prospect of using this, and I'm excited to pair it up with the incredible Fuji X-T5 today. So let's just go out and shoot this thing. All right, here we are, we're going vlog mode. You know how I was just talking about how the X-T5 was such an excellent choice for this? Well, I did forget about that. It doesn't have a front-facing screen, so I can't actually see what I'm vlogging right now. So I hope I don't look like an idiot after this take, but this is at 8 millimeters, which I honestly think is a really friendly vlogging focal length. I'm not even arm fully extended right now. I feel like if I needed to, I could reach out and give it like that extra thing. Like maybe if I was actually walking with someone, maybe it'll be like the cyclist. Hey, like I can get some extra stuff in there at 8 millimeters, which is nice, but I'm not awkwardly having to like haul this thing out. So quickly skip across traffic here. So yeah, this is 8 millimeters. Now I feel like if I just got to something like 10, or maybe even 12 right there. Now we have like a much more kind of like intimate framing, and we're gonna see a lot less of the background. I still think it's perfect for a vlogging scenario like this. Hopefully the X-T5's image stabilization combined with the lens stabilization on this thing is shaking out all these bumps, because I'm not necessarily holding this steady right now. All right, switching back to 8 millimeters now. So this is what I really liked about this lens. Probably lose the hood, it's raining a little bit less now. Try to get an eye of these vertical lines behind me and also the horizon line if you can. I think this lens does an excellent job of keeping those vertices like nice and straight. I hope going back and looking at this footage I'm not biting my tongue, because I actually can't see what's going on here. I'm here, I've taken my seat on the Polar Express, except not at all. It's just like a funky little booth. Finally done a little bit of shooting with this 8 to 16 millimeter. Holy shit. And before I get into some of my opinions on this thing, I did promise that we were gonna unpack those acronyms and letters that come at the end of this. Let's start with LM. That stands for linear motor. This is going to aid the autofocus speed and also make it a lot quieter. Now, this isn't necessarily something I care about. I can see that being a problem where you're rolling audio and stuff and you don't want the little of the autofocus motors. I don't necessarily mind that, but I did find that the acquisition of a focus point using this lens is a lot smoother than a lot of other Fuji lenses I've used in the past, especially Fuji zooms. That's acronym 1 we had to unpack. Acronym 2, WR. So that WR isn't just talking about this nice thick weather sealing gasket on the back of the lens right here. There's also weather sealing improvements going on all throughout the body of this lens. It's going to make dust, moisture, little particulates a lot less likely to enter the body of this lens. All right, I have a really good scenario behind me to test out just how distorted the image is going to look at the different sort of like stops of focal lengths on this lens. So I'm gonna take a picture of this big ceiling thing at 8, 10, 12, and 16 millimeters, just so you can see what I'm seeing here. Okay, here goes 8, ISO a little bit down. Okay, that's a lot better. 10, 12, I think I'm gonna choose to lose the ceiling at 16 there. All right, so let's check those out. Really cool. I mean, 8 millimeters, just such a neat focal length for certain things. I mean, that distortion could totally ruin some great composition that you had in mind, or it could just like exaggerate that space and make it so much cooler to look at. All right, people, so directly as the sun started to come out, I think I'm actually gonna be packing it in for the day. So thank you for joining me on this jaunt around our home city of Boston. I'm gonna get all this footage and all these stills from this XF 8 to 16 millimeter lens back onto my computer so we can all bask in the wide angle glory that came from this lens. So peace, until next time.